welcome back to my channel today. We are going on a fascinating journey into the history of one of the smallest yet historically rich coins of the Philippines, the 1968 5 Sentimo coin. At first glance, this coin might look simple and ordinary, but when you explore its background, you will find it connected to the larger story of Philippine independence, identity, and economic development. The 5 Sentimo coin of 1968 belongs to the iconic Pilipino Series, which was launched in 1967 under the presidency of Ferdinand Marcos. This series represented a major shift in the Philippine monetary system because it replaced English inscriptions on coins with the Filipino language. This was more than just a language change. It was a bold symbol of nationalism and cultural pride. Before this reform, Philippine coins bore English legends such as Central Bank of the Philippines, but starting in 1967, the coins carried the phrase Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. This change was part of a broader movement in the 1960s to promote the use of the national language and strengthen Filipino identity after centuries of colonial influence. The 1968 5 Sentimo coin is small in size and made from bronze, yet its historical significance is vast. It features Melchora Aquino, affectionately known as Tandang Sora, on its obverse side. She was a revolutionary heroine during the Philippine struggle against Spanish colonial rule in the late 19th century. By placing her on the coin, the nation honored her role as the mother of the Katipunan. Melchora Aquino was a symbol of courage and resilience. She provided food, shelter, and medical care to Filipino revolutionaries fighting against the Spaniards. Despite her old age, she risked her life for the cause of independence. When caught, she was exiled to Guam, but never abandoned her patriotic spirit. Her image on the 5 Sentimo coin reminds every Filipino of the sacrifices made for freedom. The reverse of the coin carries the official seal of the Central Bank of the Philippines. This seal is rich in symbolism, showing the country's progress and economic sovereignty. By including this seal on coins, the Philippines projected its growing confidence as a newly independent nation, navigating the challenges of the post-colonial era. The year 1968, when this coin was minted, was a politically and economically active time. The Philippines was experiencing both modernization and growing political tensions. Coins from this period serve as tangible reminders of the nation's journey through history, from colonial subjugation to independence and self-determination. Collectors around the world often underestimate small denomination coins like the 5 Sentimo. However, these coins are invaluable for studying cultural and political changes. The 1968 issue in particular is special because it comes only a year after the new Pilipino series was introduced. This makes it among the earliest examples of the government's push to embed Filipino nationalism into everyday. When you hold this coin, you are not just holding bronze, you are holding a piece of Philippine identity. The choice of Melchora Aquino tells us a lot about the way the nation wanted to remember its heroes. Unlike foreign rulers who once appeared on Philippine currency during colonial times, now it was Filipinos themselves who became the faces of the nation's money. The 5 Sentimo coin also reflects the economic values of its time. Back in 1968, this small coin could still buy something useful, such as candies or basic household items. Today, 5 Sentimo is almost negligible in value, but in the 1960s, it had true purchasing power. This shift in value tells us much about inflation and how the economy has changed through the decades. Another fascinating aspect is the craftsmanship. Even though it is small, the details on the coin are remarkable. The portrait of Tandang Sora is finely engraved and the lettering is crisp. For numismatists, such details are essential in assessing a coin's condition and value. Coins in uncirculated or proof-like condition are rare and can fetch significantly higher prices among collectors. Over the years, the Philippine coinage system has gone through multiple reforms, yet the 1968 5 Sentimo coin remains a favorite for historians and collectors because it was part of the first true nationalistic coinage series. It marked the beginning of a cultural shift in how the Philippines presented itself through its money. For many Filipinos, this coin also carries nostalgia. Elders who grew up during the late 1960s and 1970s remember using this coin daily. It reminds them of simpler times when life was different, the value of money was stronger, and the country was transitioning into a modern era. Internationally, the coin also has appeal. Collectors from outside the Philippines often look for coins that reflect national identity movements, and the 1968 5 Sentimo is a perfect example. It represents the post-colonial era, where countries reshaped their cultural image through currency. This coin also highlights the role of women in Philippine history. By placing Melchora Aquino on the 5 Sentimo, the nation recognized the often overlooked contributions of women in the struggle for independence. It made her a household name and ensured that future generations would not forget her legacy. In terms of rarity, the 1968 5 Sentimo is not extremely rare in circulated condition. However, coins that have been preserved in excellent condition, with their original luster and sharp details, are much harder to find. These are the pieces that collectors truly treasure. As decades passed, the 5 Sentimo coin gradually lost its importance in daily commerce. By the 2000s, inflation had rendered it nearly obsolete in actual transactions. But ironically, its numismatic value grew. Collectors now see it not as spending money but as a historical artifact. This coin also teaches us the importance of small denominations, coin that carries not only monetary but also cultural and symbolic value. At first glance, it may appear like a simple piece of copper nickel alloy, but when you dive deeper into its story, you uncover layers of history, economy, design, and national identity. This coin is more than change in the palm of your hand. It is a miniature time capsule of the Philippines during a significant era of transition. The 1968 10 Sentimo coin belongs to the English series, one of the longest-running and most widely circulated coinage series in Philippine history. Introduced after World War II, the English series carried inscriptions in English, reflecting the Philippines' historical ties with the United States. The year 1968 sits right in the middle of this period, making the coin a fascinating study of a nation caught between colonial influence and a drive toward independence in identity. The coin's obverse features the Philippine coat of arms, a proud emblem of sovereignty and strength. It shows the sun with its 8 rays, representing the first provinces that revolted against Spanish rule, and the 3 stars for Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. This was not a random design choice, it was a deliberate reminder of the unity and resilience of the Filipino people. Even in the smallest denominations of currency, on the reverse, we find the denomination inscribed, along with the year of minting 1968. The clarity and precision of the coin's engravings speak volumes about the craftsmanship and intent to highlight national pride. Though modest in size, its symbolism was immense, reminding every Filipino of their shared heritage every time they held it. The year 1968 itself was a period of change and challenges for the Philippines. Under the administration of President Ferdinand Marcos, the country was navigating modernization while also facing political and economic turbulence. Coins like the 10 Sentimo became everyday companions of citizens, circulating through markets, transport fares, and daily transactions, silently narrating the story of ordinary lives during an extraordinary period. This coin was struck in copper nickel, a practical choice meant to withstand daily circulation. Its durability reflects the resilience of the Filipino people who, much like their currency, endured wear and tear but remained strong through the decades. The 10 Sentimo might have had little purchasing power, but its role in everyday trade and economy was undeniable. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1968 10 Sentimo coin is its connection to the broader historical journey of Philippine coinage. After the English series, coins would gradually shift to the Pilipino series, marking a stronger cultural identity by replacing English with the national language. Thus, this coin stands at a transitional stage, bridging colonial influence with the assertion of Filipino pride. Collectors today find the 196810 Sentimo to be a fascinating piece not because of its metallic value but because of the story it tells. It is a reminder of the country's evolving identity, of its people's everyday struggles and triumphs, and of the artistry that goes into something as ordinary as coinage. The coin size may be small, but the historical impact it carries is massive. Every scratch, every worn edge tells us about the hands it passed through: farmers in the provinces, jeepney drivers in the city, children buying sweets, and families saving up in jars. It is a true witness of Filipino life in the late 1960s. Some versions of this coin remain in circulation among collectors, though in heavily worn condition. Pristine examples are rare, and those that still shine with their original mint luster are highly prized. The rarity factor increases when coins have errors, such as misstrikes, off-centering, or unusual metal quality. The symbolism of the coat of arms and the national elements is worth emphasizing again. For a young nation continually affirming its place on the global stage, Embedding national pride in coins was a way of solidifying identity. The 10 Sentimo coin of 1968 is a tangible reminder of that effort. Economically, during 1968, the 10 Sentimo had small but notable purchasing power. It could buy candies, a portion of transportation fare, or a local newspaper. For families of modest means, every centimo counted, making this coin a critical part of daily survival and household budgeting. In global numismatic circles, Philippine coins from the English series attract significant attention because they highlight the Philippines' unique colonial and post-colonial history. Collectors from abroad often seek out coins, like the 196810 Sentimo, for their historical value. One could say this coin is an unsung hero of Philippine currency. Unlike the larger denominations, which often get celebrated, the small Sentimo coins carried just as much history. They traveled farther, touched more hands, and bore more stories of the common Filipino than their larger counterparts. Over time, the 10 Sentimo denomination would lose much of its purchasing power due to inflation, but its memory remains preserved in collections and historical accounts. The 1968 edition captures a very particular snapshot of a nation, balancing tradition, modernity, and cultural identity. For coin enthusiasts, finding a well-preserved 196810 Sentimo is like holding a piece of living history. It connects you directly to the Philippines of the 1960s, a decade of change, modernization, and complexity. The aesthetic design of the coin is also worth admiration. Its modest yet precise engravings highlight the skill of the minting process at the time, reflecting attention to detail despite its low face value. Today, we are going to explore the fascinating story behind one of the most iconic coins in Philippine history, the 1 piso coin from 1976. This coin might seem small and ordinary, but it holds an incredible story filled with history, culture, and the changing face of the nation. The year 1976 was a period of transformation in the Philippines. It was a time when the country was under the leadership of President Ferdinand Marcos, and the economy and society were undergoing significant shifts. Coins issued during this era carried not just monetary value, but also strong messages of national pride and identity. The 1 piso 1976 coin belongs to the Lipunan New Society series, which was introduced after the declaration of martial law in 1972. This series was more than just about currency. It was a symbol of the new society that Marcos wanted to project to the people. Every coin from this series carried the inscription Lipunan, signifying the government's campaign for reform and national unity. On the obverse side of the 1976 piso, you will find the portrait of José Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. Rizal has always been an enduring symbol of freedom, knowledge, and the fight for national independence. By placing Rizal on the coin, the government sought to remind the public of the values of patriotism and sacrifice. The reverse side of the coin proudly displays the official seal of the Republic of the Philippines along with the words Republika ng Pilipinas and the denomination 1 piso. The seal represented sovereignty, national pride, and the unity of the Filipino people. What makes the 1976 1 piso so special is that it came at a turning point in Philippine numismatic history. It marked the transition from the old designs of the pre-martial law period to a new, modern look that aligned with the country's political agenda at the time. The coin was minted in copper nickel, which gave it durability and a silver-like appearance, with a diameter of 29 millimeters. It was a relatively large coin compared to modern 1 piso coins. Its weight and metallic composition gave it a strong presence in the hands of the people. In terms of mintage, millions of these coins were produced, meaning they were widely circulated. Almost every Filipino in the 1970s and 1980s would have used the 1976 1 piso in their daily lives, whether for buying snacks at the sari-sari store or paying for goods in the local palengke market. But while it was common back then, today, the 1976 piso has become a collectible piece. Many coin collectors search for well-preserved examples, especially those in uncirculated or proof-like condition, as they represent a significant part of Philippine history. The coin's connection to the Lipunan movement makes it more than just money. It is a reminder of an era that was filled with both progress and controversy. For some, it brings